As a 16-year veteran in the corporate world, I've done my fair share of interviewing, and I've been lucky enough to get hired into some really great Fortune 500 companies. And most recently, during the last couple of years of this pandemic, I've been fortunate enough to transition into two brand new roles, and I've done it completely through virtual interviewing. So in this video, I'm going to share with you some of the most important things that I've learned throughout this process, and the best practices I've developed to evolve and tailor my interview preparation methods to fit the new post-pandemic virtual era of corporate interviews. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. If you're new here, this is Daniel's Brew, where I talk personal finance, investing, and career development. If you're a subscriber, thanks for your support. And don't forget to check out more of my content on my website at danielsbrew.com. Alright, so I've broken this video down into 3 different sections that highlight 3 key things that I do every time I prepare for a virtual interview. When studying for an interview, you'll want to do your due diligence in researching 3 important areas: the company, the role, and the interviewers. Starting with the company, depending on what organization you're interviewing for, you'll want to read up on the latest publication headlines that are impacting the company as a whole and the particular business unit, division, or function that you're looking to get into. The easiest way to find out this type of news is to either do a search on a business publication like CNN or CNBC, or simply go to the investor relations page on the company website and read up on the latest PR releases. This will provide you some context into how the company is performing currently and what direction it's heading in the future. Next, you'll want to dig deep into the job posting itself and try to ascertain exactly what the hiring manager's key needs are. Remember, every job posting is meant to be a solution to a problem or a deficiency that the hiring team has. And if you read the job description carefully, you should be able to glean some deeper insight into what that solution needs to be. One tactic I like to use in this exercise is to use an online word cloud generator to help distill what common theme words are present in the job posting. It's really simple. First, you just copy the job description of the position you're interested in. Then you navigate over to any word cloud generator, like this one, and paste in the description and hit Generate Cloud. And there you go. It looks like for this particular job, product design, vision, user experience, and design vision are frequently recurring themes, meaning that they're looking for someone with heavy UX and design experience in their background. As you can see, doing this exercise gives you some additional ideas as to what the hiring team is really focusing on in a candidate and can guide you as to what type of experience and skills you should be highlighting from your background during the interview loops. And lastly, you'll want to focus your attention to the interviewers themselves so you can get a good gauge of what functions and levels of leadership are represented in your interview loops. Since most interview loops include people that you might be interacting with on a regular basis, knowing this information will help you refine your understanding of where this open position fits within the overall team and org structure, as well as give you insights into what might be important to them in an incoming candidate for this position. Knowing the role the interviewers currently play on the team, as well as a little bit of background on them, may give you a clue as to what type of questions they may ask you, which of course will help you when you study up for the right aspects of your background and experience that might be most relevant to them. And of course, the easiest way to research your interviewers is to simply look them up on LinkedIn. I typically like to read through their past job history, any posts that they've made to LinkedIn recently, and of course, any recommendations that they've given or received from their leaders and their colleagues. Now, once you've finished studying for the core content and the subject matter of the interviews, you'll want to turn your attention to the logistical aspects of a virtual interview, starting with your location. You'll want to follow these 3 general guidelines when choosing your location. First, you'll want to find a nice quiet place where you're least likely to be interrupted. Secondly, you'll want to pick a location that isn't too cluttered or too bland. You'll want it to have just the right amount of character in the background to make it interesting and memorable for the interviewer, without it looking too messy or distracting. This is important because, as you can imagine, the hiring team may go through tons and tons of different candidates for a job posting, so you'll want to stand out in a positive way and make sure you don't just blend in with all the other candidates. And third, you'll want to be someplace where you can control the lighting, meaning you'll actually want to find a place where you don't have any windows or where you have blinds that you can use to cover them up. This third one is important, trust me, and when we get to the next section on lighting, it'll make sense why. Following the location selection is the step that I like to call the production aspect of virtual interview preparation. This is where you effectively set the stage for your interview by establishing your video, audio, and lighting settings to prepare just the right environment for your virtual conference. Let's start with lighting. When you're lighting the subject of an interview, which is you, the best course of action is to mimic a cinematic film technique called Rembrandt lighting. Otherwise known as the three-point lighting system, this technique states that you start with a single focalized light source called a key light at a 45-degree angle to the subject to provide a nice highlight to one side of the face while creating a soft gradient drop-off look to the other side. This gives you a professional portrait feel to the video and highlights the attention on your face, while at the same time giving you a soft yet confident look. The second step is to add a fill light to the opposite side of your face so that the shadow produced by the gradient drop-off of the key light isn't so dramatic. It modifies a somewhat moody documentary style setting into a more personal conference style setting for your interview. And lastly, the final light source filmmakers use in this technique is called a rim light or a hair light, and when you place it behind the subject at a slight angle, it creates a subtle outlining effect on your head and your body so that you can stand out a little bit more from your background. Altogether, this lighting scheme is called the three-point lighting system, and it's a popular method used on TV and in motion picture studios when they film interview-type scenarios. Now, this takes us back to the final point that I made in the location section of this video, where I mentioned that you'll want to select a place where you can control the lighting. The reason I mentioned that is because for this lighting scheme to work, it's best to only have these three lighting sources illuminating the scene. If you have any other ambient lights, like sunlight from a window or an overhead room light, etc., that could counteract the effectiveness of these three focused lighting sources, causing your scene to deviate from your intended look. Now that you've got your lighting dialed in, you're now ready to set up your camera equipment. First, make sure that you find the right camera angle. Since the goal here is to try to come as close to an in-person interview vibe as possible, you'll want to mimic the perspective that the interviewer would have had they come into a conference room with you and sat across the table. This means having a camera situated as close to eye level as possible and setting a wide enough frame to capture your upper torso and some of your background. Here are a couple of examples for reference. Next, when it comes to the type of camera you should use for your interview, there are several different avenues that you can take. The first option is to use your smartphone. Almost every web conferencing app, from Zoom to Microsoft Teams to Cisco Webex, they all have mobile app versions of their software that can utilize your phone's camera and mic to conduct a video call. And if you use a phone mount device like this one, propped onto a chair or a stool, you can easily set it up at the right height and the right viewing angle to give you the correct camera perspective that you want. This is the most simplistic option, and it doesn't require you to have any other equipment, such as your laptop or even separate audio equipment, as you'd simply use your phone's built-in mic and speakers during the interview. The only downside here is that depending on how far away your phone is, it might be hard to see your interviewer clearly. But as long as you can somewhat decently see their face, it shouldn't be a big issue. The next option would be to use your laptop with an external webcam. In this particular case, you'd want to make sure that your laptop and your camera are both situated high enough to get the correct viewing perspective that you want. In terms of webcam choice, there are many different options out there. The one I currently have is the Logitech Brio, a 4K webcam specifically designed for video conferencing. But if you'd like some other choices here, a simple YouTube search for the best webcam for video conferencing should yield you plenty of reviews to look through. In fact, I found this really great video recently from Schiro, where she compares 6 different camera options, including the Brio 4K, which is the one I have. Be sure to check out our video. I'll leave a link to it down below in the description section. And lastly, the option with the best video quality would likely be to hook up your DSLR or your mirrorless camera to your computer and use that directly as a webcam. The beauty behind this solution is that you'd be able to take advantage of all of the cinematic look and feel that your high-end professional camera affords you, with the blurry bokeh effect and all. The only catch, however, is that you'd need an HDMI cable and something like this Elgato Camlink capture card to enable your camera to be recognized by your PC as a webcam. But if you were willing to pay for these extra accessories, your DSLR or mirrorless camera would provide you with superior color and image quality, making your interview video that much more impressive. And the final topic under the production aspect category here is audio. The easiest way for you to get decent audio for your interview is to make sure that you have a dedicated audio device that's separately connected to your PC or your camera. While there's a massive array of headphones and microphones out there that you could buy, I've found that the easiest and cheapest method is to simply procure a pair of wireless earbuds, like this one, and to use them for your interview. Even these cheap $30 earbuds that I got on Amazon can make the difference between sounding like this Thanks for the interview today, Robert. I hope to hear from you soon. And sounding like this. Thanks for the interview today, Robert. I hope to hear from you soon. All right, so those are my tips on how to make your virtual interview session amazing. And I know that was a lot of information, but I really hope you found it useful and helpful. And I hope that you're able to employ some of these tips and tactics to give you that extra edge during your virtual interview loops. So if you like this video, hit that like button for me so that YouTube will surface this content to more viewers like you. And if you'd like to share this video with your friends and family, all you have to do is simply hit the share button down below by the title bar of the video. And feel free to check out my other career development content that you can find with the links below in the description section. So that wraps up this session of Daniel's Brew. Thanks for joining me today, and good luck out there.